This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, everybody. I'm going to call the Public Works Committee meeting of November 6, 2023 to order at 5 p.m. I'm Ken Poisson, 6th District Councilman, Chairman of the Public Works Committee. I'll take a motion to approve the minutes from October's meeting.
So moved.
Motion to approve, and I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. Item 3 is the report of the Public Works Director. Renee has emailed that out to us ahead of time, as always, to help expedite the meeting. Does anybody have any questions for Renee?
Let me look at it. I have to find the. Do you have any? I don't have the list in front of me, Renee. I'm sorry. Do you have an idea of the tree planting plan at Longbrook Park?
No, I don't.
Okay. And then a while ago, I brought up the Worcester Park area where the kids walk down to the soccer fields. It's all like eroding away. Has anybody had a chance to look at that?
We looked at that. If I was down there maybe a week or two ago. Is that the area where the fields are more towards the back of the parking lot, where there's just like, it looks like just runoff from water that comes down there?
Yes, it's
Okay.
The park, the new paving, and then there's like a step down to the gravel and the dirt, and it's all like small rocks, and it's a little bit steep.
Yeah. I'll talk to the guys about it. I want to confirm that's the area. I'm not sure how much we do about it because that's a runoff. So no matter what we do, unless we fix the runoff problem, which I don't know where it's coming from, it's just going to keep washing out. It's, that's just what it's doing over there. So I'll have to talk to Parks and Highway and see if they have any suggestions, but I'd have to look to see where the runoff is coming from.
So it's probably coming from the parking lot.
Diverted, yeah. There's curbing around the edges of the parking lot, but
not in that spot. Only because I'm just worried that somebody's gonna fall and turn an ankle or whatever, especially on all the rocks that are now visible. I'm just thinking maybe that fence could be extended and closed that way off to pedestrians and fields, and maybe make an opening further down, maybe towards the paddleboard, the courts.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I walked in and it was flat. That is like meant to be the walk-in for the fields over in that area. We have garbage cans and everything set up over there for people as you're exiting and entering to throw your trash out. So
I'm just thinking like putting up a fence would prevent people from using that as a convenient way to walk down, and then alleviate some potential fall hazard, and also maybe replace the dirt so that the tree won't die.
I'll take another look at it with the guys.
Okay, thank you.
Well, Renee, just want to mention that some good news, looking at the Friends of Booth Park request. GAF Materials through Danny Senf will be donating the materials for a new roof on the Veterans Museum. And Vinny Hirschbeck was just there today, and his company will be putting on the new roof.
Great, awesome.
Costing nothing.
It's going to be doing my roof, not for nothing, but in a couple of weeks. So you're welcome, everybody.
Well, he's going to charge you extra.
Veterans, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you very much, Renee. Next up is a report of the town engineer. John has emailed that out to us also ahead of time to help expedite the meeting. John, you have some action items first?
Yes, I have several items. We have our projects under construction, so we have some change orders. But the first one is for Bruce Brook. The status of that project is we have an awarded grant for the phase 1 of the project. which is the realignment of the stream at the end of Bow Avenue. And then phase 2 of the project, this funding will also pay for the permitting and the right-of-way acquisition. So we want to move, and the design. So we want to move forward with that phase 2 as well, simultaneously with phase 1, which is currently under design now. So we asked Weston Sampson, the consultant, to provide a contract for that work. And we still have some wrangling to do, but we have an upset limit on what that contract would be at $100,000. So we'd like to advance that for approval, and we'll work out the details and have the mayor sign a contract.
All right, so you need a motion on that, John?
Yes.
I'm happy to make that a motion for approval. I'm sorry, I don't have the agenda in front of me to know the exact wording, but is that okay?
It's what John just said, and Aileen has it in writing already.
Perfect. So I motion to approve what John just described for
the Weston and Sampson amendment in the amount of a not to exceed limit of $100,000 for Bruce Brook Phase 2.
to
And
the town
send to
council. Do we need the town council favorable? So
Yes.
all that. Thank you.
I'll second
Okay,
that.
Bill, okay. Any further discussion or questions for John? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. Next up, John.
The next items are for the Main Street Complete Streets project, which is the streetscape improvements between Broad Street and Barnum Avenue, currently under construction. We have several issues. Some of these have been reported on in the recent months. But the first big issue is the requirement that the DOT permitting agency has imposed when they issue the permit for the project to mill and pave the gutter lines, which is the area along the curb line that would be where we're putting granite curbs. They want to mill and pave a 4-foot strip along those sections. And that was not in the DOT's original approval of the plans, nor was it in the bid. So that's a big number, especially we've expanded that scope because we're recommending that we not only do in the front of the curbs that we install, but also in front of the rest of it as well. So we're not starting and stopping this little pavement at every driveway, because we didn't put curbs across the driveway, so we wouldn't have to do it there. So in order to have a continuous smooth pavement on the shoulder of the road, it's important because that's where the bike lane is going to be. So the project includes striping a bike lane, and we're trying to make a smooth riding surface for bicycles. So we don't want to be starting and stopping every 50, 100 feet with milling and paving. So we're going to mill and pave straight through. The contractor gave us a price, and that applying that to the square footage of the whole project on both sides of the road, it's $791,000. I'm sorry, $791,200. When this first came up, we brought this to the attention of MetroCog, who had overseen the design phase of the project and secured the funding from DOT for the project. They agreed with extending the milling and paving for all of the shoulder roads, and therefore, and they also believe that we can get this additional funding from the DOT with an amendment to the current authorization for funding for LOTSIP. So MetroCog is now currently looking on how we're going to go about do that extension or amendment to the LOTSIP funding. We do have some credits that we're also going to get from the contract. because we've decided to scale down the green paint. We talked about that earlier on. And we've also changed the way we're going to do the crosswalks. So they're not full depth reconstruction, which DOT originally wanted, but now they agree we don't need. So we will be having credits that are significant also, but we still forecast that we need an additional $350,000 with these numbers. So what we would like to do is approve the mill and pave not to exceed that dollar amount, and then with the understanding that we're not going to execute that change order until the funding is in place to do the work. On the other hand, we're obligated under the permit to do the work. So if needed, we would have to scale it down or reduce the scope of the project if for some reason this additional funding was not going to materialize. But we think it will. So we think DOT is going to fund this. It's DOT's requirement. So we're looking to have the approval on it with the conditions that we wouldn't execute it until the funding is in place to pay for it.
So we're looking for 300,000?
Well, we're looking for this actual change order is going to be 791,000.
And that includes, that factors, that's going to be less with each of these funding sources, the credits and the DOT extra support.
Right. So the change order is 791,200, but you know that we're also going to get some credits and we're also going to get some additional funding.
Okay.
So, but the change order that has to be approved is actually 791,200. Okay.
Motion to approve the additional funding of $792,200,000 for the paving project, contingent upon the funding sources coming through from Connecticut DOT, to send to the town council with a favorable recommendation.
I'll second that. And it's 791.
791.2.
Yeah.
791,200.
Right.
Right. Don't put a 2 in there. That gets scary. Then people think it's millions.
Yeah.
Right. And just for the record, again, this is for the Main Street streetscape improvements. All right. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. John, you have one more?
Yeah, so the other is also for Star Construction change order for commercial concrete driveways. There is a detail for commercial concrete driveway, but there's no bid item for it. So the contractor's price was $27 per square foot, which is reasonable given his unit price for the standard concrete sidewalks. And when you apply the quantity to that, that would increase the value of the contract $10,000. So we'd be, the change order amount would be $10,000 at a unit price of $27 per square foot. And we actually will pay what the number of square feet that get put in.
And which project was this for again, John? I'm sorry.
The Main Street streetscape project.
Oh, this is for the sidewalk part.
Yeah, for this concrete driveway that's done within the sidewalks.
Okay. Lauren, would you like to make that motion also?
Yes, I would. I'm trying to find it in my emails. Yes, I will make that motion to approve and send to town council with a favorable recommendation.
And I'll second that.
Okay, the chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. And again, this is all for the Greenway and the Bikeway project along Main Street. All right, John, any other highlights from your report?
So that's for the Main Street. And like I said, there are these other large credits, but you don't technically need to approve them or send them to council because they're credits. But we've already talked about them in the past anyway. But I wanted to let you know what those dollar amounts would be, ultimately when we don't do them. The Greenway Bikeway project, the Greenway extension from Birdseye Street to Broad Street is the other project that's actively being worked on. This is Waters Construction, and we have 4 change orders for Waters. The first is concrete sidewalk across driveway, very similar to what you just approved for the Main Street. This dollar amount is $30,372.
Laura?
These are credits.
No, this would be an extra cost.
These are now motions we need for the Greenway and the Bikeway project.
Okay, I see that. Okay, so
It's
so
just,
moved.
yes, it's kind of the similar, yes, the similar work, just different part of town, right, John?
Different
Yeah, right.
different contractor, different contract. They link together at Broad Street. They come together at Broad and Main, but they're
Okay.
different projects.
It's very loud. Can you guys turn it down?
So I'll
Sorry.
move that motion with the favorable recommendation to be referred to town council.
And I'll second.
Any other further questions? Chair votes aye, motion carries unanimously. Go ahead, John.
The next item is over at Academy Hill. There's a sidewalk being constructed along the property line, Academy Hill on Elm Street. And the intent of our intent is to have a ADA accessible route along there on public property at the town park. However, the plans didn't show a ADA compliant sidewalk. Basically, what we needed to have is a minimum 5% grade on the sidewalk, and the grade was exceeding that. So we had to bring in quite a bit of fill at the low end of the sidewalk to raise the low end up, so that the net result would be a flatter sidewalk. So it does not exceed 5%, which means now it's ADA compliant. So the next items are related to that change order. The next 2 items. The first one was the quantity of fill that was needed to bring in and compact and place and grade the area, and that was $43,863.
So once again, so moved to be referred to town council with a favorable recommendation.
I'll second.
And John, where is the funding coming from for this?
So these funds are in the low SIP funding, which is different than the lot SIP funding for the Main Street project. This is a state entitlement that we get every year. We've been applying for this money for the Greenway project for some years, and that's the funding source. We are offsetting these costs with other quantity reductions for some sidewalk that we felt could be left in place. So we're still within budget after we apply these increases in costs.
Oh, good. That's what I like to hear. Thanks.
So do we need a separate motion for the fill?
Yeah, I would do in each one.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was the second one, so we're just need to vote on that one. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The chair votes aye, motion carries unanimously. Go ahead, John.
And the next one is related to that. And along Elm Street, there was a wooden guardrail there, park style. So in order to affect these grade changes, that guardrail, it was removed, and it's going to be reset. And it's going to be reset to a proper grade and a little bit closer to the road behind the telephone poles. So it'll look the same when it's done, but it needed to be reset. And the cost of that was $12,210.
Motion to approve $12,210 for the Greenway Bikeway program to be referred to town council with a favorable recommendation.
I'll second that.
Okay, chair votes aye, motion carries unanimously. John, you said you have one more?
Yeah, the next one is for the engineer fee. If you recall, this project has been going on for so long, I don't know if you do, but the original intent has been expanded. And last year or the year before, we decided to try to make sure we had a continuous route from the existing greenway at the Beacon Point Road all the way to Broad Street. So the original plan didn't show a lot of sidewalk on Beacon Point and Birdseye Street. And the Beacon Point, we decided we would do when we were going to be doing the water pollution control flood protection wall, which would be right in the vicinity. So we had issued a design contract to our consultant, BSC, to incorporate that sidewalk extension in coordination with the flood wall project. But more design is needed to bring that sidewalk down Birdseye Street to Elm Street. There are some right-of-way issues there. There's a guardrail there that needs more attention for the design of that project. So this is proposed to be 18,000 for BSC to go out and survey that leg, establish the property lines, and I think we have to do a little bit of right-of-way taking at the intersection of Elm and Birdseye to be able to put in handicap ramps the way they should be. So this would be for the design of that project, which is really all part of one project, but we're doing it in pieces.
Okay.
What was the number for that one, John?
18,000.
So motion to approve the BSC design for the Birdseye Street and Elm Street design for $18,000. Is this not to exceed it? Is this a fixed fee? To send to town council with a favorable recommendation.
I'll second that.
Hey, John, was that 18 or was it not to exceed 18?
That's 18.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, chair votes aye, motion carries unanimously. Anything else, John?
Excuse me. Do you
Aileen, go ahead.
not need them to approve the 2 credits for the Main Street improvements? Okay.
No.
Thank you.
That's it for action items. I did want to bring up just a few well, really just one, I guess. On item 10, the 5th Ave tie gate, I just wanted to let you know, I did get a complaint from a resident on 3rd Avenue, and their road was flooding as it does from time to time when high tide is happening. And, you know, I explained why that project hasn't moved much. And, you know, my explanation wasn't really good enough for him, obviously. So, you know, I've talked to Chris Timniak, who is reaching out to the engineer to try to get some movement on that project. The engineers originally were having some problem, I think, with personnel trying to get someone to be able to have the qualifications to do the work that we needed. If you remember, there's a conflict with the sanitary sewer with the storm drain, and that has to be reevaluated to see if the project can actually be built. And that's been going on for about a year that we've been waiting for some design help on that. So I just bring this to your attention because it did come up, and it is an issue that we're not moving fast enough really to get that job done. So it's currently with the CAO as far as us making a decision on how to proceed if the engineer is not going to perform.
John, I have a question on something else. What is the time frame on the, it looks like there's some progress on the roundabout in front of two roads there.
The town attorney has completed appraisals for the properties that we need to be able to do the right of way to be able to do the project. The right of way phase is going to be higher than we already have funding for. So we've asked again, MetroCog, that's funded under the same funding as the Main Street project, LOTSIP. We have asked MetroCog to increase the level of funding for right of way acquisition. So they're looking into that. In the meantime, it's in the town attorney's hands to reach purchase agreements. The engineer is looking to have his work completed for submission. Well, he's essentially done, but what we need is the utility companies to give us their relocation plans. The DOT won't accept the plans from us without that as a final package. So we're waiting on one or two of the utility companies to complete their relocation plans so we can attach them to our drawings, so we could send them to DOT so they can give a final approval of the project so we can go to bid. So those two different things need to happen. One is the right of way has to be secured, and two is we need final DOT approval, which we're waiting on utility companies for that.
So John, in a best case scenario, what would be the time frame for starting the project?
I would say it's realistic that if the utility companies send their drawings in, we get it to DOT in January, that we could probably get the project out to bid in the spring and have a summer construction.
Wow.
Well,
We need to get
that would be great.
The right of way has to be acquired first.
Yeah. No, I know it's been a long time coming. That's why I was hoping before I left here and we left here that we'd have some really good news, but I guess we're getting there.
Well, I can say we're getting there. I know we have the appraisals done, so we just need the town attorney to get the agreement signed.
All right. Thank you as always, John. All right. Our next meeting is Monday, December 4th, first Monday, 5 o'clock, like usual. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to
Motion
adjourn.
to adjourn. I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hey, chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. We are adjourned at 5:28. And as always, thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Everybody.